Ilia Topuria knocks out Charles Oliveira with boom, one big sharp overhand, follows up after with a couple slams to the head when he's on the ground unconscious, but it's the overhand that does it. We need to talk about this punch in particular and two massive beginner mistakes that Oliveira made that led to this KO. We have a huge July 4th sale happening at Strike Ready. You can head over, grab my offense and my defense course, both just for $99, 66% off because normally it's $300 for both of them. And this is where you really want to jump on that defense course because we talk in there about so many things that happen in this fight. In particular, where Oliveira made the mistake and left himself completely open. That is all covered in the course. You don't want to make that mistake. Now, this fight, leading up to it, it was so exciting. We had Torpuria, who has an undefeated record, but is going for two-time champ at different weight classes. First time in UFC history that this has ever happened. Now, I want to read to you something that Torpuria said, which I found very interesting because many people were skeptical of him because he celebrates the night before the fight. Who does that? But he's so confident. But what does he say at the post-fight presser? He says, "I am not invincible. Quite the contrary. I feel that I'm beatable. That's why I work so hard. I put so much dedication, and that's why I do the work that I do. And I don't want to leave anything out there. And the work is so well done that I feel there's no doubt left. And that is why I celebrate things the night before, because I feel the victory is built and should be celebrated at the end of camp." I love that idea that he has in his mind there, because if you are leading into the fight and you're questioning your fight camp in any way, and I've made this mistake before, I'm like, ooh, I could have done this a little better. Ooh, I should have done more sparring rounds. Oh, it's not a good place to be. You want to be going into that fight going, yeah, I'm scared. And I can be beaten, but I put in so much work that this guy's not gonna beat me. No, sir. Now, I just did a video the other day talking about that overhand, which Torpuria throws. He does it a little different in this instance, in the sense he allows his hand to disconnect further from his head than he often does. Very often, he'll just throw the shoulder to lead and then bring that hand away at the last second, but he gets those shoulders as the lead motion. If you're still wanting to work that overhand, you're wanting to be a little bit more like Torpuria, you really have to do two things. Lead with the shoulder and let the arm follow after and get your head off the center line. And that's a big part of what we're talking about today because Oliveira didn't do that. Head off the center line keeps you safe from any shot. So that is the very first mistake that we see Oliveira make. He decides he's going to move forward, and he moves forward with his head right on that center line. So he walks straight in to that shot, which obviously makes it that much worse, right? There's not much give for your head to snap back if you're already moving in. There's a little bit, but if he would have been back here and gone long and you get hit, you kind of end up taking the shot more like that. Not gonna say he would have stayed up, but when you walk straight in and you eat it, whoa, that's bad. And remember, unless you are 100% sure that this guy is not gonna counter, and what you're looking for when I say that is somebody who's right here. They're so shelled up that there's no way they're gonna be throwing that counter. Unless they're doing that, you wanna drop that head off the center line on the first attack. Feet can be stationary, or feet can take a little step. Taking a little step will already get your head off the center line, but that extra little drop is not a bad thing. So doing that is gonna save you. Not doing it means you could eat that shot entirely. Now, from day one in the gym, your coach is gonna tell you hands up, hands up, hands up. And if we look at how Oliveira threw his cross, his other hand has dropped entirely. Now, I'm gonna show you an advanced thing right now that he could have done to defend. But Torpuria, when he threw the overhand, he almost brought it straight in because Oliveira was coming forward. So if Charles had kept his left hand high as he threw the cross, he still would have run into that shot. He still would have, boom, got hit because the hand's off to the side. But what you can do is you can take the non-punching arm and do this motion as you step forward, so that there's a little bit of deflection. If I put it at a 45-degree angle, then most likely it's either gonna clip here or clip here before it lands on my head. If you're very, very aware, obviously you can go, oh, okay, they're throwing a hook. Oh, okay, they're throwing a straight punch or an overhand. You can make that adjustment, and I can still rotate my shoulders, but this hand just does that. Now, it's very easy for me to criticize Oliveira from the outside. He is fighting who is turning into one of the best pound-for-pound fighters of all time in Torpuria. So Oliveira, yes, he made a couple mistakes, but guess what? His coach said before the fight that MMA, he believes, is the hardest sport in the world. And I don't know if I would be inclined to disagree, because fight sports in general are very, very hard. Very, very difficult. In the sense, you make a mistake, you get KO'd. Imagine the extra pressure that a tennis player or a golfer or a basketball player would feel if they went, okay, tonight I'm stepping in, but if I make a mistake, I'm out cold. And the whole world is watching. That in itself is hard enough. But then from there, they have to learn the boxing, they have to learn the kickboxing, they have to learn the Muay Thai, they have to learn the wrestling, they have to learn the jiu-jitsu. There is so much to know. And if you make one mistake, the whole world sees you get submitted or KO'd. And that's what happened to Oliveira. So we don't want to be criticizing him like, oh, he's no good, he made a beginner mistake. No, 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 no. It could happen to anybody. But we can all learn from it. So we can try and minimize that risk and stay very diligent on keeping our hands up. Now, when he steps forward, he comes one, and it's because he's coming to the number two. He's coming up with that second shot. He wants to go boom, boom. But it should have been whoop, boom. Hands high, hand tight to the head. That would have protected him. Head off the center line, would have made that shot miss, and then maybe he could have followed up and caught Torpuria behind the ear or something. It's all speculation at this point because we know who the winner is. First round KO for Torpuria. Amazing performance. And what's next for this guy? I'm excited. I'm going to be watching. That's for sure. Thanks for joining, everybody. I'll see you back here soon for another video.